Ben, do I have a mic? I don't think I need a mic either.
You don't need a mic.
We don't need a mic.
All right, no mic.
You guys doing all right?
Yeah.
Come on, wake up a little bit. It's almost football season. Got LPG in the house. Some punter. Odell's around here somewhere.
Coming up.
I'm the appetizer. The entree's coming up next.
Okay, Steve, I've been around you a bunch of times, heard a lot of your talks. You could really probably talk all night long just about the charity work you do. I think you got a lot of young people in the audience, a lot of kids, and to get to where you are, to finally win the Super Bowl, I think in the very beginning, didn't you deal with a little bit of adversity?
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah, it's my journey up until this point has been, arduous. It's been a lot of things that I've had to deal with, but it's really, I wouldn't have it any other way. I started out my career with the New Orleans Saints, played 3 years there, was cut halfway through the season, and I played on 4 different franchises before joining the New York Giants. And I am so thankful and so blessed that it happened the way that it did, for me to experience these other franchises and move about the country, to come into a community that really embraced me, to join a franchise that was about what I'm about, and to experience those other franchises and to come to the finest franchise in the National Football League and realize how very special it was and how very special it is was amazing for me. It would be a travesty for me to come to the New York Giants first and then to move along my national football professional career, to reminisce and be like, man, I had it so good back then. But very blessed that it happened the way that it did, because I realized how special Tom Coughlin is, Jerry Reese, and our benevolent owner, John Marin, Mr. Tisch, are, because they get it. They realize how special it is to have a special quarterback, to have a special group of guys, and to take that talent and not only win a championship, but really get out in the community and use that success as a franchise to help inspire and motivate people. And for me to be a professional athlete for 10 years is more than I ever dreamed it could be. But what I've been able to do off the field, to me, that's my legacy, not kicking a football.
Great. Next question is, one of the things, and again, a lot of young people in the audience, something that we want to talk about tonight is, you are just unbelievable with social media in a sense of helping people, getting the word out. A lot of times I've gone to you, bang, you're like, just tell me, we'll get it out there. But social media is also forever, and you do a really good job. There's a lot of young people in this audience. And what are the tips? What are some of the things to watch out for? What are some of the things to be careful of as far as Instagram, Twitter, Facebook? What's some of the things that you would tell your kids, or you would tell someone in this audience who's 10 or 12? What kind of little,
I mean, social media can be your greatest weapon, or it can be your pitfall. And for me, I'm very compulsive. I have ADHD really bad, if you guys haven't noticed. And for me, I think of things and I say them right away, but with social media, I have to be very cognizant to reread it, make sure I put myself in different people's situations, whereas could this be interpreted as something differently than what I mean it to mean. And for me, it's been a great tool, because I have been able to share my story, share my journey, share my passions with people, and it's been well received, because I don't really view myself as a professional athlete. It's not my identity. It's something I love and I enjoy, and I am passionate about it, but it's not who I am. Who I am is a person, my integrity, my character, my moral fiber. And that's really what social media helps me to give to the fans. And I love social media because it bridges the gap in between me, where I'm at, practicing with the team or training in the off season, and where you're at as fans at home. It helps you guys to know like what I'm about, what I'm doing, how I'm doing it, why I'm doing it. And I think for me, I'm very thankful that I'm playing in this era, that I wasn't playing in the 80s, because people wouldn't really know what I'm about. And so I'm very thankful for that. And that's a negative for some people who don't necessarily have the same intentions that I do, because they get exposed. And I'm not up here to preach and say, you know, I'm the greatest person, because I'm not. I make mistakes just like everybody does, but my intentions are right. You know, what I want to get across is pure, and it's motivational, it's educational, and it's what I'm about, you know, and it's genuine. And I think that's why it's been received the way it's been received, because listen, at the end of the day, I'm a punter. I'm at the bottom of the totem pole. The only person below me is Zach Diassi, our long snapper. So, so I'm not at the bottom. I'm at near the bottom. But you know, I mean, for people to buy my jersey and spend their hard-earned money to wear my jersey when you have 52 other people on my team, really, to me, you know, just goes to show you people genuinely. They respect somebody who's real and organic, and I am, and I won't ever change. I don't know how much longer I'm going to play. I'm gonna ride this thing till the wheels fall off the bus. But at the same time, when I go back and look at what I did with what I was given, you know, what I say what I'm given, you know, it is, God blesses everybody with some type of talent, and for me, my talent wasn't kicking a football. My talent was working hard. You know, God blessed me with work ethic, and what I've been able to do is find something that I'm passionate about, and that's playing football and kicking a football. And I've poured everything that I have. You know, my time, my effort, my intensity, my passions. I poured it all into that, and that is what's brought me to where I am now. And so social media has been a great thing for me, because I've been able to share that with kids and with adults as well, you know, because at the end of the day, it's not where you're at, it's where you're going. And I think in order to be successful in life, you've got to get a goal, you've got to get a plan, you've got to get busy. And for me, I'm not super talented, but I guarantee you won't find anybody that works harder than I do.
Let's talk a minute about the Super Bowl. You know,
I'll talk about that all day.
All right. You know, after, you know, here you know, we're talking about the Saints, the Chiefs. I think the Jets, right? The Jets, were they in the mix there? Jets, I know you had a great time there. Now all of a sudden, here you are. It's a Super Bowl, and field position is really, really important. I don't think we could underestimate the kicks that you had that day, and how you really did help contribute. What did that feel like when the scoreboard hit 0 and you knew you were getting that ring?
It was special, but you know, even more special than the Super Bowl game itself was the NFC Championship for me, because I played in the NFC Championship game my rookie year with the Saints, and then you fast forward 5 years to when I played for the Jets. Played in 2 AFC Championship games, and I lost all 3 of those. And so when we get to the NFC Championship game, it was in my 7th year. You know, I remember going up to Eli and Lawrence Tynes and being like, guys, I don't know what you have to do to win one of these. I know you guys know what you have to do, but if we could really squeak this one out, man, I'd really appreciate it. Because, you know, you go back and you look at the greats that have played this game. You know, I mean, perfect example is Tony Gonzalez, and he's never even sniffed a championship game. And for me to be in my 4th one in my 7th year in the NFL, I consider myself incredibly blessed, but it's almost kind of like you get so close that, you know, you start to tease yourself, and I thought, you know, this might be the last time that I ever get this close. So, you know, when I picked up that snap off the ground, put it down, and Tynes knocked it through from 38 yards, that was the most euphoric feeling I've ever had. And, you know, I'm not going to lie to you, I've had 4 kids, and those are all special, but nothing was more special than that. You know, my wife realizes, you know, she gets it. So it was a special experience with a special group of people. And the one thing that's nice about it is you come back and you see these 86 and these 90 Giants come back, and they're honored at halftime. And, man, I'm just like a kid like anybody else in this room, and I'm like running around the field like trying to shake everybody's hands and get pictures. Because that was the teams that I watched when I was a kid. I was born in 1982. My dad was a Bears fan, and so I was a Bears fan up until about age 5, when I was old enough to really watch the games for myself. And that was the era that the Giants were dominant. 86, 90, they were Super Bowl champions. And so I became a Giants fan in '86. And, I was a bandwagon 5-year-old, but don't judge me. And so for me to be able to put on that beautiful blue helmet, for me is an absolute blessing. And, even more important than being able to wear that helmet, to be able to set history and set goals and achieve those goals. And for me to be able to play in the Super Bowl and have the greatest game of my life was a culmination of a lot of hard work, a lot of sacrifice, a lot of people believing in me and encouraging me. And that game was played 47 miles from my hometown in Terre Haute, Indiana, and it was a storybook ending. And the only thing different than a storybook ending is I'm still blessed enough to continue to play this game for the team that I love. And I couldn't be happier. And like I said, I don't know when it's going to end. It could end tomorrow. I was in a near fatal car crash 3 weeks ago, and for me, as my car was hydroplaning on the New Jersey Turnpike, I thought that was it for me. So I've always had the attitude of being thankful for today, but after something like that, it'll shake you up.
Ladies and gentlemen, Odell Beckham. And Damontre Moore.
Cleaned up.
Really looks good. I love the touch.
Steve can do everything. He thought he was emceeing tonight too. He's like, all right, I'll handle it.
I called him because I was a little late today. I'm like, well, what am I going to need to do when I get here? He's like, just answer questions. Like, wait, I thought I was emceeing this deal. The more you can do, guys, the more valuable you are. I know I'm just a punter.
Damontre, how's the team looking this year?
I mean, we're looking pretty good. I mean, what do you want me to say?
I wonder, well, how did it feel? I know you had your first sack, Washington Redskins. How did it feel to get that first sack under your belt?
Ah, man.
And get the quarterback and.
I'm trying to think what it's like. It's like, I don't know what it's like. It's just magical. It's like, it's like
Yes.
when I was 12 years old, I went to Disneyland, and the first time that I walked in there and I seen Mickey Mouse, I was like 6 feet, and I was looking, and I just started sweating.
When I was 12 years old, I was like 4'8".
Now we know what
I think the most impressive thing when we really realized that Damontre had arrived was the punt block, and I don't even remember who we were playing. Was that regular season or preseason?
That was preseason. It was the Steelers. That's what it was.
It was the Steelers. So it was your first play.
It was.
It was his first play in the NFL, and he came out and blocked the punt. And we had all seen Damontre in the offseason, from time to time be absolutely electric, and he had a little bit of a shoulder issue, so we didn't see a lot of him. And so the first time we really got to see him go 100%, his very first play in the NFL, he blocked the punt. So it was really kind of at that point when the older guys on the team gave him a little bit of respect and started, stopped hazing him.
You do like it.
I liked you from day one, but I just thought you were just a normal rookie.
Well, you should give me a hug.
I just gave you a hug.
Okay.
He has to block one in the regular season to get a real hug.
All right. We got a bunch of great questions from the audience, which is eliminate some of the ones I have. But I'm going to give this to Steve. What advice would you give a young kid who wants to become a professional athlete?
I would say set the long-term goal, and obviously that is become a professional athlete. But I think in order for you to reach something that's so lofty of a goal, and we all dreamed of that. When I was a kid throwing the ball in the backyard with my dad, we all wanted to be Odell Beckham Jr. But I'm not disappointed being Steve Weatherford. But I mean, it would be pretty cool to catch touchdowns. But I played the hand that I was dealt. But I think in order for you to reach a lofty goal like that, when there was so much space in between, you know, being 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 years old and having a goal like that, is to set goals within that goal. So, okay, I'm 12 years old. You can't control your height. You can't control your weight. When I was a freshman in high school, I was 5'8". I was 108 pounds. I was a shrimp, but I dedicated myself to nutrition and to fitness. And I spent literally every waking hour I could in the weight room and on the track running, and I gained 117 pounds in high school in 4 years and never took a steroid in my life. And that was... Listen, I've been tested for 10 years. That's the greatest compliment I can get. These young bucks think that I'm on something. But, you know, for me, it wasn't the lofty goal. It was the day-to-day. And I think the way that you make progress in any industry for any goal is consistency. It's not how hard can you train today. It's how hard can you train today and tomorrow and tomorrow and tomorrow. And I think once you start stacking those things up, they start to compound interest exponentially on themselves. And, you know, before you know it, you go from 108 pounds to 225 pounds, but it doesn't happen overnight. And it's about staying consistent, not taking days off, not cheating yourself, because at the end of the day, if you have a goal, you're going to have to continue to invest, because the greatest investment that you can make in life is within yourself.
Odell, excited about playing the whole season with these two guys here, plus Victor?
Yeah, man, I can't wait. I'm looking forward to it.
Absolutely. Damontre,
Yes, sir.
if you were not a football player, what profession do you think you would be in? That's a question from the audience.
Ah, man, that's a good question. I was thinking about being a hand model for a while. Like, my mom told me I got big, beautiful hands, like, show them off. But honestly, I'd probably be a lawyer or a sports agent or something, or trying to, you know, be a talk show host or something like that. I don't know. I just love entertaining and talking. So, like, if I was a lawyer, I feel like I'd be like a defense attorney, so I can argue with somebody.
Okay, all right. That's good. Steve, do you spend some time in the gym, or is this just all natural?
It's all genetic, guys.
I'm still
Compliments, I appreciate it.
I know you had just had your fourth child,
Mm-hmm.
and what's that like, and the back and forth, and I think the day of
It was,
OTAs and
yeah,
and the
so
car
we
accident.
started on Thursday OTAs, and my wife was doing Wednesday. And so obviously I was unable to be there for Thursday because she didn't have the baby on her due date. So we ended up getting her induced on the Saturday, 2 days after the start of OTAs. She had the baby that night, and the next morning I flew back to Newark, and then that's when the car wreck happens, because we got redirected to DC, and I decided to rent a car at 2 o'clock in the morning because I didn't want to be late for practice. I'll be late for you guys, but not for Tom. So it was an eventful 16 hours, but all blessings. You know, my daughter's 10.5 pounds, beautiful, healthy. Mom's doing great, and I'm alive.
We're going to start with you, Damontre. What's your favorite movie of all time?
Bad Boys 2. Favorite movie of all time. Like,
Odell?
I don't think people know my favorite one of my favorite movies.
Let me guess, Scarface.
No. Bad Boys, the original one. And Blue Street.
watch out.
You don't know Blue Street.
I do. Oh, listen here, young
Blue
Blue
Street.
I believe you're the youngest on the team.
Okay, Steve, favorite movie?
Pistol Pete.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Pistol Pete and Goodfellas.
Okay. Steve, your favorite player growing up?
Bo Jackson and Steve Prefontaine.
Really? Okay. Steve Prefontaine, long distance runner?
Mm-hmm.
Correct? Okay, favorite player growing up? Odell? Want to take a favorite player growing up?
Favorite player? What sport?
Any sports?
Hey, if you're young enough, you can say me.
But in your line.
That's a tough question. I looked up to a lot of guys. You know, like I I loved Allen Iverson when he was young. When I was younger, you know, Mike Vicks, the LeBron James, anybody who's at the top of their game, I respect. I have a level of respect for. So I watch what they do, and I try and imitate the good things that they do, and incorporate some of the stuff that they do in my game.
Awesome. Damontre, favorite player growing up?
Man, y'all got me going after that.
Yeah.
I would probably say my response is honestly the same as ODB. Like, honestly, I modeled like a lot of the stuff in the way I did and carried myself like after a lot of people. Like, you know, like you said, I love the Allen Iversons, DeMarcus Squares, you know, Michael Vick, LeBron James. Like, I don't know. It's hard to say. I probably say honestly though, I think I am going to actually go with Allen Iverson.
Okay, so you're not choosing Steve Weatherford?
No.
He was born in 1990.
He's a model. I see Steve as a model.
Okay, so, all right, so,
I'll
okay. All right, Steve, this is a good one. This came from the audience. These are some great questions. You could have dinner with anyone in the world tomorrow night.
DeMontre.
Who would it be?
I actually enjoy your company.
Thank
You
you.
guys are giggling, but
Thank you.
Steve and I are very close.
I have to
He's
tell-
a New York City, a New York bestseller, author.
And
And the only way that I knew that is I looked at his watch. I'm like, is that a new watch? New money, guys. New money.
Well, just to say the kind of person that Steve is the Giants win the Super Bowl. They have the ring ceremony, and he calls me that morning. He's like, "What are you doing tonight?" I'm like, "You know, I'll be around." He goes, "Well, do you want to have dinner with the team?" I'm like, "You know, we're doing our rings. We're having dinner at STK." I'm like, "Well, who's going?" And he's just the team and you. I'm like, "Seriously?" And went there, I walked in, and it was the team and me. And it actually was one of the nicest experiences and one of the most surreal things I've ever done in my life. And just to be sitting there with Eli and Ahmad and Justin Tuck and all those guys after the Super Bowl, and to be there, you know, an hour after they got their rings, because this guy was thoughtful enough to call me that morning, and there was nobody else there, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's very rare in life that you meet people, you know, especially, and then don't get me wrong, I'm very blessed to be in the situation that I'm in, but more times than not, when people come up to you, they want something from you, but Steve is the opposite. 9 times out of 10 when he calls me, he's like, "Hey, how can I help with your charity? How can I get involved? How this and that?" And that's rare to find friends in this life, and you don't have to be a professional athlete to feel that way. I mean, I'm sure, you know, a lot of the phone calls that everybody's sitting out there, a lot of times when you get phone calls, people need something from you. And very rarely do you get phone calls when people are like, "Hey, I just want to know how you're doing. You know, what can I do for you?" And Steve's that type of guy, so we have a very special relationship. And, you know, I'm very blessed that, you know, to call him a friend and that he's a part of my family.
Well, and I want to say to have all three of you here tonight and on board. And Steiner Sports has been around for 25 years. And one of the things that we do is, and we have a ton of Steiner Sports employees here tonight, and a lot of what we do every day is help athletes and help the charities and whatever it is. What can we donate? What can we do? We actually have a show called the Steiner Hookup, you know, where we've gotten firehouses and we've gotten into, you know, different things, and we really want to be that company that always gives back, you know, and I think tonight's a really special, intimate thing. We didn't want to do it for 1,000 people. We just wanted to do it for our best customers that we really cared about. So, you know, I think that's what's...
For 4 years, Steve and Mr. Steiner have, on average, probably donated about $15,000 to $20,000 every single year to an event that I host in Southern California called Dinner with the Pros. And, you know, for a lot of these different charity events that people go to, there's retainers on the gifts. And, you know, so the bidding starts at $250, but with everything that Steve donates to my charity event that benefits all children, it's all children-based in Southern California, there's no retainer, there's no starting bid. You know, so everything is 100% donated, and I'm incredibly thankful for that. But that's just the type of person that Mr. Steiner and Steve are. They're running a business here to earn money, but at the same time, they're pouring that money back into different foundations and initiatives that they deem worthy of their generosity.
Thank you, Steve. If you could have dinner with anybody next week sometime, who would you do that with?
Well, you've already had dinner with LeBron James, so.
Have you already?
Yeah.
Wow. What was that like? So you don't have to answer that one, then you just gotta say what was having dinner with LeBron like.
I mean, it was great to be able to, you know, a guy who you look up to, your idol, to be able to sit there and pick his brain and figure out what did it take for him, you know, every single day to commit to get himself to where he's at, and just learning the ins and outs and really the tricks of the trade of how to be, you know, the greatest, which in my mind, you know, to this day right now he is.
Unquestionably.
Just regardless of what other people say, that's just my opinion. So anyways, just picking his brain and understanding where he's coming from or what he does to get there.
Have you met Michael Jordan yet? Before anyway?
I haven't met him in person, but I have talked to him, conversated, and you know, kind of did the same thing with him, picked his brain for sure.
Great guy, right?
Great guy, definitely, and definitely picked his brain too.
Damontre, who you having dinner with? LeBron's out and I'm out. So you.
Dang. It's all good choices to take. I had dinner with my mom.
Okay.
Like, I don't know. I'm just a big mama's boy, and so like, I don't get to go home that often. So like, anytime that it can actually just be me and my mom, like one-on-one, and like not my other brothers and sisters, like I kind of cherish those moments, and it rarely happens. So it'll probably be those.
Awesome. Where's Elisa? Are we on time, Brooks? Anybody?
Well, I showed up late, so I can stay 20 minutes late.
Okay, we will, let's grab a question from one of the kids in the audience. What do we got?
Let's go right here. She's got my
Okay.
Super Bowl ring, so.
All right. She's wearing the Super Bowl ring?
She had it, now she's It's lost, it's on you.
What did you do to get into the Giants team?
I'll let our best player answer that.
It really all starts with a plan. To me, it's just having a goal, kind of like what you talked about, it's just having a goal in mind. And as bad as it is, you know, I live in Texas, and my goals are different each and every day, but I set goals for a day, and I go out and I achieve the goals for a day. And, you know, pray that you're blessed to wake up with another day to set more goals and keep going with that. And just kind of keep that cycle going until, you know, you get to your end goal in mind.
That's awesome. And I think, didn't your mom run
That's a
track?
good question.
Yes, you do.
And I think, Steve, you ran track, didn't you?
Yep.
You ran track, so. Did you run a little bit of track at some point as well, or?
I ran track since I can ever remember. I was put on the track. I was born on the track. So yeah, I did run track.
Great. Okay, one of the things we're going to do, we'll do a couple more questions, and then we're going to get, everyone's going to get a photo, so we'll probably do it by section, so everyone can get, Ben, you ready to go, right? So everyone can get a, so go ahead, young man.
Odell, when you made the catch, did you realize like it was like ridiculous, or did you just know you scored a touchdown?
I think it just all the hard work that you put into making those type of catches and just finally getting that one, you know, and you're like, you know, I've been waiting to make this one catch for the longest time. You don't realize the magnitude of that moment at the time, or at least I didn't. You know, it was just, damn, I've been practicing this for so long. You know, I finally, you know what I mean, I've been studying for this test for 5 months. I finally get an A on it. You know what I mean? So it's kind of that feeling of this is what you've been practicing for a long time, and then you finally get it. And I don't think it hit me till, you know, 2-3 weeks later when things really just increased in my life, that the catch was more than just a one-hand catch for me.
I mean, a lot of people didn't notice because, you know, the cameras weren't all over Odell previous to that catch. That, I mean, that's how he warms up, is catching balls, you know, not jumping and sprawling out like that, but he practices one-handed catches all the time. And, you know, it wasn't until he made that catch that, you know, the cameras were all over him in warm-ups when he does that. But that's a normal routine for him. So, you know, like he said, he'd been preparing for that moment for years, you know, whether it's back in, you know, in his backyard throwing with his dad, Odell Beckham Sr., or in the warm-ups catching balls from two-time Super Bowl MVP, Eli Manning. You know, he had been preparing for that for years on end. And when that opportunity came to him, he was ready for it.
Paul, you have a question?
Odell, do you feel any competition of Victor Cruz like returning to the Giants?
No, I'm excited. I'm truly excited. It's a guy who, me coming into the Giants, it was a guy who I looked up to and watched his film and idolized his game and took the little things that he did and implemented it in my game. So for me, it's more exciting to have him back and Vic, Ruben, and myself, or whoever is going to be in. That way you can't double team anybody. You can't double team Vic. You couldn't double team Ruben. You couldn't double team myself. It's a system, and it's a system that's going to be able to work. I feel like everybody will be able to get touches, and even with that, if you're winning games, it's a lot more fun to lose, and I'll tell you that much.
Steve, one of the things is, and Eli and I talked about this last time he was up, first Super Bowl with Eli, Zach Diassi. How many guys really left from that, and how has the team turned over? And how do you feel about this year's team? And every team's probably got a different complexion, different.
Yeah, I mean it's a great question, and I've been on the New York Giants for 5 years. I've been in New York for 7, and our leaders change every year. The only one thing that remains constant is Tom Coughlin and Eli Manning. And I think obviously that's the nucleus of our success. Obviously getting Odell has helped tremendously, and we're all very optimistic for our offensive performances this year. And I think we're all hopeful that Vic comes back healthy. And but yeah, it's changed every year. It broke my heart. My best friend Justin Tuck left, and then my other best friend was Antrell Roll, and now he's gone. So that's just how the National Football League is. You've got guys on your team who are leaders, who are vocal leaders, and those people are dependent upon a lot. But it's the changing of the guard, and that's just how the NFL is now with free agency. But the two most important things that you need to be able to be successful and to win championships in the National Football League are a great head coach and a great quarterback, and we've got those two things. And I think we've got the greatest wide receiver tandem in the National Football League. So when you've got a great quarterback and you've got two weapons like Victor Cruz and Odell Beckham Jr., I don't really see myself punting too much. So
I think a lot of people in the room, collect autographs, and at Steiner Sports, one of the things we've really done is really get into that great product, turn that moment into memories. For the three of you, you collect autographs, you swap with guys, jerseys. Damontre, you want to answer that first? Do you have any collectibles? Anything you've kept from,
I got some old Pokemon cards.
Okay.
Honestly, that's the only thing that I probably, Pokemon and Yu-Gi-Oh cards.
Same thing with you, or you have a couple?
I was in the NFL when those came out.
We're the same age. I did collect Pokemon, Yu-Gi-Oh. He's older than me by 1. But a lot of other cards too as well. And now I swap jerseys because I want to have those memories. Who did I play against here, there? What happened, and I just like trading jerseys.
Okay, who's someone you've traded jerseys with, or someone who's asked you, or someone you've asked?
Dez, Kaepernick, Eric Reed, Sherman.
Okay.
Trey Mason.
St. Louis with Tavon Austin.
Tavon, Deshaun Jackson. Who else?
I asked Brett Favre, but he said no.
Really? That's awesome.
I got a few jerseys.
And you kept some of your own, and some of your helmet and some cleats, and so you've kept some different things. Steve, what about you? Collecting autographs growing up? I think you got a shoe from Coach Knight.
I collect game balls.
Game balls.
You guys are supposed to be like, tough crowd, I guess.
It is a tough crowd.
No,
right?
I
thought you were gonna listen them up.
when I was a rookie, I was like so elated to be in the NFL, and I still am. And I played with a guy by the name of John Carney, played 23 years in the National Football League. I actually named my second child Carney after him. And I was just when DVDs were like really popular, and I was like, oh man. you know, I got like 100 DVDs now because I just started getting checks that had a comment in them. And so I was excited. I could go to Circuit City and go crazy. And so I was like, oh man, you know. And then I asked John Kearney, I'm like, what do you collect? And he was like in his 18th year at the time. And he kind of looked up at me because he's a little kicker. And he goes, game balls, Rook. Game balls.
Wow.
So I'll never forget that. So that was my opportunity to be like John Kearney, but you guys didn't.